Hey, Dave here. Just got back from the beach this morning. Got the shirt for the beach, the tan for the beach, the long hair for the beach. But I really suck at surfing, actually. That doesn't matter though, because I enjoy it thoroughly. Because being in that water, hitting the waves, really amps up my life force energy. And as I've talked about so often, life force energy is the key for living a fulfilling life. When our life force energy is high, we naturally access our inner genius and we're connected to that which feels rightful for us. And we tend to do the things that naturally feel good. And those things that really feel good contribute to our place in creating a positive world. Now, these things don't necessarily have to be mystical. You know, a lot of people involved in spirituality and consciousness basically think that we have to be doing spiritual things, but a lot of the time it's just really reconnecting with our nectar, the things that bring us true joy and passion in life. Nectar is such a potent fuel source. It is like a highly refined type of life force energy because it connects us with our deeper passions, which you could say is sort of a spiritual thing, but it doesn't necessarily go with, chakras and incense and energy work or any of that kind of stuff. Sometimes just plugging into what really makes us happy, that is really the most important thing. And when we commit to our passions and we commit to following the thread that brings us into greater alignment with our passions, we then begin to undo anything that gets in the way, the things that are not us. And in this process, we are restored a felt sense connection to life. And we begin to live more and more in real time. It's like the commitment to our passions is our spiritual path. And a lot of people in spirituality, they try to understand things. They try to understand how reality works, how the world works. What teaching do I need to follow? And I just got to say this, follow your life force energy. And the more you commit to that and the deeper you go with that experience, the more you will actually have the experiences from which the understanding arises. So it's always much more potent and powerful and real to allow the experiences to unfold naturally in life and then derive your own sense of understanding from those experiences. That's what I actually like reading. I don't read to learn new teachings or new doctrines or anything like that. I learn to affirm what has already happened in my reality. So that's the way I like to read. And it's like I read things that I resonate with because I'm like, yes, I already know this. I've already experienced this. And some authors have a really great way of describing it, or they might have a really great story that already speaks to something that I've affirmed through my own experience. So the motto is experience first, understand afterwards. My truth, the thing that we're all in search of, can't really find it in this day and age, is objective. There is something called natural law, and it's basically the full spectrum order of how reality works. However, from the human perspective, it can seem subjective. And in the new age, it's very often that people say, oh, my own truth or my truth. Well, there's one objective truth, but then there's your particular alignment with what's rightful for you. So some people are on a healing journey, and their truth is to basically heal and work through darkness and all sorts of stuff. Other people are on a journey of drinking nectar and having fun, and drinking nectar, not drinking alcohol is what I mean here, but drinking their nectar, surfing, whatever it is, being out in the elements and really enjoying themselves. That is their passion and their connection back to source. And then other people are maybe an inventor. Maybe that's what it is for them. That's what really they're here to do. I've learned this through astrology, really. You have 12 different signs, and they're all facing in at the sun. So there's 12 different perspectives on the truth in the astrological model. And that's why a lot of the time, other people might be charismatic, or they might have a large following, and then people listen to their teachings, but they don't get very far. They reach a plateau, and it's because they're trying to incorporate other people's versions of reality, and they don't quite fit. So the key here is to honor your own life force energy. And as you develop a more and more intimate and strong resonance with that life force energy, it will guide you to where you need to go. And life force energy is a very loose term. There's actually a large spectrum with different vibrations of life force energy. So a lot of the life force energy I like to work with are the elemental forces, being out in nature, walking barefoot, swimming in the ocean, getting some sun on my skin. Like those, for me, that's a really great start. Get elemental and then commit to what I love doing, like playing music, writing, making videos like this, chatting to people, doing my one-on-ones. I mean, I love that stuff. I truly love it. But it's a different frequency than nature. Nature is sort of a way that I reconnect the body, and then all of those things are a way that I hone a different type of substance. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the yogic substances that happen. I want you to discover that for yourself. So I'm not going to rob you of the experience of this path of self-discovery of the different qualities of life force, but they each have their own place. And what life force energy is really asking us to do is to bring it into the body, to fully embody it, because it's in the body that we have an alchemical laboratory that distills the crude forces that we take in into alchemical gold. Gold is actually a very, very important substance, both physically and metaphysically. It's something that cultures all over the world have looked for, but on an inner alchemy working. We want to transmute our inner lead into gold, as the alchemist said. And so our deeper connection, our deeper passions are our connection back to that place. Our pursuit of passion, true passion, is really what brings us a feeling of pure love. And pure love is the source-connected energy in the world. And basically, as we experience more and more pure love from what we do, it expands not only our consciousness, but it radiates around us and it impacts other people. Have you ever just seen somebody who loves what they're doing and it's just like it's magnetic? It's like you're around them and you're like, wow, that woman's taking care of those kids and really loving it, and the kids are happy and I feel good as a result of this. Or maybe somebody is a builder, and they build houses and they're just building houses and they love it and they know the intricacies of it, and you just listen to them and their passion for what they do, and it's so electric that it actually inspires you to go and pursue your own passions. It's that simple. Do your passions, align with them, commit to them, feel pure love, and that basically emanated outward, and it basically actually plugs you into your post in creating a better world. Now, what gets in the way? Well, this is the part we all argue about, and the origins of the things that get us in the way. Most people in the world are not in pure love. I think that's obvious, and we can all agree on that. Most people in the world are in some variety of fear, or they're in some variety of buffering themselves with comforts and distractions, or they're in survival mode. And none of those things are pure love. And the reason for that is because society itself imposes certain structures and systems upon us that basically create negative patterning. Society is the elephant in the room, modern society especially. And the thing that people need to come to terms with is the things that it is trying to create and instill, they're not positive. They actually cause harm. And I know some people in spirituality say we're all one, and they have this non-dualist perspective. But I do need to say this, from a human perspective, there are forces that can manipulate and cause harm. Ask anyone who's been with a narcissist in a relationship. The best thing to do is to get out of that relationship. Get away from the narcissist, forgive them, love them, and let them figure their own shit out from a distance. You don't want to be involved in that. And for me, I've studied symbolism, I've studied the occult. I know what the symbolism means. I know what the intention behind it is. I see the behavior and the patterns used to know that we who are in society are basically in a relationship with an abuser. That has to be understood. If you do not understand that some of the elements of society, not all of them, some of the elements of society that we kind of take in unconsciously assume, oh yeah, money, taxation, debt, adhering to authority, all these things are good. No, these things are not healthy. There is harm that they are causing us. And that harm basically, what it does is it creates wounding, it creates traumas, and it creates a breaking from our natural thread, our natural connection. It doesn't allow us to express who we truly are, because a lot of the time who we truly are goes against social norms. It goes against conventions. It goes against the limited bandwidth of acceptable things. And we have to basically learn to be fearless and courageous in pursuing the things that matter to us. So I've got sort of 3 easy steps for honoring our life force. And the first step is to not participate and reject the things in your reality, your society, your world that do not serve you, that are actually causing you harm. And I think a lot of people kind of know what the first level of those things are. Oh yeah, maybe I should stop watching so much TV. Maybe I shouldn't, go out clubbing every weekend. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of things out there. Some of them are quite controversial nowadays, but the elements that everybody else seems to be okay with, but you feel there's something wrong with. So it's up to you to reject those elements out of your life. And then what you need to do is feel into your body, and to start placing your attention and awareness and expanding the constricted, restricted, and knotted up patterns of life force energy in the body. And then the third thing is, when you start to do that, your subconscious mind will start to bring into your reality the passions that you should be following for that time. You could say that is your purpose, not your big all end all life purpose, but maybe your purpose for now, which is just as important as your big all end all life purpose. So as you clear the patterns that cause problems, you tap into your own life force energy, and you root out and you kind of sort out the flow of life force energy, and then you commit to your passions. You're basically aligning yourself with a more loving and a more meaningful life. And this loop, this cycle of these 3 steps, it continues. It's not like you do it each step once and you're done. It's sort of like, as you commit, then you're aware of the next level from which you have to unhook yourself. For me, I had to get out of a job at some point. I couldn't work for other people and basically be told, you gotta show up now, you gotta leave now, you can only live in this place, you've gotta sit in traffic, all that stuff. At some point, I just said, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. So I got out. And it was the best decision I made. I've had a couple, months where I couldn't afford the same luxuries that I once had, but at the same time, I'm a much happier man. I'm able to do stuff like this. I'm able to be available for people. So life force energy, and why it's so important, is because it is the causal force. It is the force of causation, and the physical manifestations for what we see are the effects. Look around you. Look at this painting. Look at this metal thing over here. Somebody had to think of this first. It was mental energy first before they shaped it. Our entire world is based on things that were impressions, mental impressions first, that were then created into something. And so that is a form of life force energy that is actually creating the physical manifestation. Even the way that I look, even the way that I show up, my hair done like this, my tan, whatever, is all a manifestation of life force energy. If I look like crap today and I was all worn out and pale and pasty, it would be because I wasn't honoring my life force energy. When I show up here and I'm more animated and smiling and that type of thing, it's because I've been honoring my life force energy. And the reason why we need to honor our life force energy in order to follow our passions is because the negative patterning, the negative energies that are around us, basically they form a cloud. And this cloud and these patterns tend to entrain consciousness. And what I mean by entrain is that when they're operating, our consciousness is on the same level of awareness as these patterns. So therefore, we need to unhook the patterns in order to release ourselves back to a much wider spectrum of what we can perceive. And also too, when we hone our life force energy, we can penetrate through the cloud deeper and actually see reality as it is for us in our own lives. So if we're experiencing doubt, confusion, procrastination, lethargy, depression, anxiety, whatever it is, that's just a cloud. That's not you. That's just an indication that you need to pierce through that, get to the other side of that. You might need to sit with some inner wounding, and you might need to bring love into that part of the body first. But as you pierce through that, then you arrive at the place that is you, that is your true calling for whatever that is in this moment, whatever you truly, really want to do and can commit to. And so this cloud really, it can kind of keep us, it can drag us down and keep us from committing to our passions. So it's about renewing and honoring our life force energy on a very regular basis. So this video is just a quick overview for how to live your purpose and some of the pitfalls we run into collectively. Each person has different needs though. And so there's no one size fits all, and I can't possibly cover this in a 20-minute video. And that's why I still do one-on-one work with people. When I do one-on-one work with people, it allows me to feel into them and to basically understand what's going on for them. Where are the imbalances occurring? Is it occurring at a very high karmic or spiritual level? Is it a mental level? Is it an emotional imbalance, or is it a physical imbalance? You address the imbalance, you untether the negative patterning from whatever layer or whatever density it's occurring at, and all of a sudden things just start working very naturally again. When you're free, when you feel free of negative patterning, you naturally align with the things that bring you joy and allow you to express pure love. It's that simple. For me, this is also my way of getting around the whole issue of healing. Self-healing is extremely important, but I've noticed some people tend to obsess over healing. They tend to basically try to fix themselves constantly, and it becomes really about them, and their life becomes about just healing and healing these wounds, and that's their whole thing. Their whole life is just a big healing journey. And I don't see that as being the most positive use of our time and energy, because the commitment to our passions actually causes us to change. It refines us, and it brings up the areas that need to heal in the process while we're bringing in a positive, loving energy, which takes care of most of the healing anyway. So instead of healing from a place of lack and scarcity, it's a different type of healing. It's a healing from coming into wholeness by following and committing to our passions. And when I say passions, I mean, deep passions. So uncovering those or resonating deeper with those is why we have to do some of the other work that I was talking about earlier in the video with the 3 steps, which is untethering from the negative energy sources that are around us in our lives. Number 2, feeling into our body, bringing the attention and awareness into our body and undoing the constricted and restricted life force energy. And number 3, then, that's when we start to say, hey, I really like playing guitar. I really like writing. I really like, gardening. I really like taking up surfing. I really like snowboarding, whatever it is. Maybe it's something a little bit more eccentric. Good for you. We need more people doing eccentric things these days. But what I'm saying is when you start doing that process of commitment actually refines you, and it brings you the healing you need in a very joyous way. So you actually get a lot more mileage out of that. The other thing I found too in the work that I've done is the deeper layers of our essence leave clues. So sometimes, if we want to maybe work a little bit more effectively, we can begin to use the process of divination. And the way that I work with divination is I use astrology, numerology, tarot, and I tap into guides and different beings, which you could say are just higher parts of your field or your frequency that you're just not consciously aware of yet. But what I do is I relay messages from there, because the soul actually has a lot of imprinting from these places. It's very intelligent. When it comes into life, it leaves behind a lot of breadcrumbs, a lot of clues as towards your previous track. So I've got a lot of tools in my tool bag, but sometimes I just toss out the tool bag because I meet each person where they need to be met. And the other thing too is I know nowadays a lot of people are like, well, I can't afford this. I've lost my job. So I give a lot of stuff freely. Check my YouTube channel, my podcast. There's tons of material there. I even give away free books that I've written because I really want to see everybody embracing their true potential so we can create a new positive future rooted in the whole spectrum of human life. But some people still want that personal touch. And so feel free to reach out to me. I've got my contact information in the description below. And I love doing one-on-one sessions. And I've had a lot of really powerful experiences in opening people up and getting them into contact with themselves. Through the work that I do, it can actually just get people to tap into their own source connection, because I'm tapped into mine. And so it's sort of like a magnet in a way. It's like I'm resonating at a particular frequency, and then they begin to resonate at that frequency. So all the stuff that seems to be dragging them down just kind of falls away, and they just kind of naturally get into their own flow. And so that's the beauty of working one-on-one with people. And then also too, I get in tune with a lot of very specific information of how people can really empower their own lives. The other thing too is that not everything costs money or a set price. I do some work by donation as well. And that's because there's a new economy that's forming, and that new economy is really where things are given freely out of one source connection, and then those who receive then respond in kind through their source connection with a reciprocal effort. So nobody is sort of left in the dust. And anybody coming to me, even if they don't have any money, they can still access the tools that I give. I give so much freely. I even work by donation to allow people to get what they need. Because what we're talking about here is more than just spirituality. Spirituality nowadays seems to be rooted a lot in the thinking of ideas and the feeling of certain things, but not so much action. It doesn't actually exist on the full spectrum of life. And what I'm talking about is coming into tune with the actual field and consciousness of planet Earth, which has evolved. It has already evolved into a completely new state. The energy around the Earth has changed. The grids around the Earth have already changed. And it is intelligently beginning to inform humans that want to fall back into resonance with that pattern of how to live through their unlimited potential. Now, the problem, of course, is the other thing I was alluding to, which are the planetary control structures, which are based on basically nothing. They're based on ideologies. They're based on constructs. The whole idea of money, of debt, of following rules, they don't exist in nature. There's no basis for them in natural law. And as a result, too many people get entrained into that crap, and it keeps them from living their true potential. And the Earth's moving forward with great force right now. So a lot of these control structures are collapsing anyway, because the consciousness of Earth wants to evolve. And so this train here is the one that I want to support with the work that I do and the people that I work with. So thank you very much for watching this video, and check out the description below. I've got a link to some of the work that I do, and just for fun, I'm going to throw a free guide in there as well. So if you want a free guide for working with your life force energy, it's there. There's a nice little freebie for you, because you know what? Let's just share the love. All right, anyway, go in pure love today. I hope that this video really touched your heart and really inspired you to be more of yourself. Take care.